Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. As we observe the carnage in Palestine, many of us are feeling anger and helplessness. How do we channel that anger and helplessness for a good cause? Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
What do we do when we're feeling so frustrated and angry at what's going on, Dr. Shabir? There are negative ways of venting and releasing that anger and frustration, and there are positive ways. So is there any sort of advice that you could offer, Dr. Shabir, particularly for young people who are feeling that anger and frustration now, in terms of what they could do to create positive change?
Yeah, first to all of the young people out there, I want to acknowledge the anger that you feel. People have the right to be angry with this situation.
Yeah, because we have political leaders on all fronts pretty much validating and allowing this to occur. We have all the international laws and all the international bodies pretty much doing nothing, right? The international laws are pretty much obsolete. International bodies are just kind of sitting by with mild statements. We have other countries who are surrounding Palestine who are not doing anything. So it is very frustrating for people. We're going to protests, we're going to rallies, we're speaking out, but at the same time, there is no change, right?
Yeah, and let's take brief stock of the major unfolding of this, the major events in this whole that resulted in the killing of so many thousands of Palestinians in Gaza in particular, some 40% of which are children, 70% are women and children. So we're talking about, a large number of children being killed here, thousands. At first, people in the northern strip of the northern part of the Gazan Strip were being told to go to the south because the armies are going to be bombing the north. And some people moved south, some people didn't. The bombing happened anyway. And the bombing was also happening in the south to a certain limited extent. So a large number of people did move to the south. And now, after the north has been largely demolished, more than 50% of the buildings have been reduced to rubble. Now the bombing has started more intensively in the south. So people in the south are being told to gravitate towards certain centers, like Rafah, for example, and other places are being bombed, like Khan Yunis. So what is this? People are being displaced not only once, but again and again.
Many times.
The water being cut off, electricity, fuel being cut off, communications being cut off. So the whole population is being placed under siege. This kind of collective punishment naturally is going to make people angry.
And all of this we're watching on social media, on our phones. This is the first time that we're seeing it so graphically, minute by minute.
Yes,
right?
Yes. There have been, appalling conditions in many parts of the world. There have been atrocities and ethnic cleansing and genocide. But now we're seeing this as it happens, on social media like never before. So people who are naturally very sad over this and angry because, so much is being done wrong and there is nothing we can do about it. Now, of course, Israel wants to reclaim its hostages, and that's fair. You want to reclaim your hostages, but there are different ways of doing that without killing civilians. There are, for example, negotiations, and we have seen that negotiations can result in the release of hostages. It may take time. It comes at a price, but that's a lesser price than having on your conscience that you have killed so many thousands of children on the other side. And at the same time, the bombing campaign is not going to guarantee that you get your hostages back alive. In fact, even many Israelis are angry with the government's decision to continue this bombing campaign because it is feared that, of course, this is one side of the equation. It is feared that the bombing may result in the deaths of the very hostages that we're trying to get back. I wish people would widen the scope and think about the safety of the hostages and the Palestinian children and the women and the rest of the innocent Gazan population.
And the men who are in situ.
Yes, exactly.
Dr. Shabir, so what do we do with all this? How do we cope with it on a day-to-day basis? Do you have any advice for young people in particular?
Yeah. So one is to turn to God in prayer. That's most important because it is in God that we find solace. The Quran says, "Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub." Isn't it that in the remembrance of God that the hearts will find rest? So let us do that. But of course, prayer is not enough. Our prayer means we are asking God to do something for us, but we should also do what we are able to do. So what can we do? We can join protests. That is one way of doing something active, so we're not just sitting around and seething in anger. But we can shout good and beneficial slogans that could hopefully change public opinion. We should not resort to violence because we don't want to widen the conflict, and we should not let what's happening in the Middle East, result in violence against our fellow human beings here where we live. But yes, join the rallies. That's one way of staying active. Join social media groups of like-minded persons so that you have a reasonable outlet in which to vent your anger in a healthy manner. You can exercise patience as well. That is a virtue. You can give charity, and of course, charity sometimes finds difficulty in getting its way into Gaza itself. But you can help Palestinian causes and Palestinians wherever you are. On the flip side, we heard of 3 Palestinian lads getting killed in the United States of America. So if some people are targeting Palestinians for their anger, from their point of view, then we can be kind to Palestinians from our point of view, right? So that's one way of channeling your anger, by doing something positive for a Palestinian person or for Palestinian causes. Of course, Muslims should only support just causes. It's not so much the name, this is Palestinian, therefore right, and this is something else, therefore wrong. No, we support all good and just and fair causes. But right now we see that the Palestinians are done a lot of injustice is done to them, and we want to correct that situation in any small way that we can, and that would be one way of channeling our anger.
We'll leave it at that. Thank you, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. We have some exciting news to share with you.
As you know, Let the Quran Speak has been on TV screens and social media for 22 years.
We've been reaching people all around the world, spreading positivity and good, and helping people experience the beauty of Islam and the accomplishments of Muslims.
We've been shooting in this very space for the past 2 decades.
And now, with the help of Allah, we're about to get the keys to Muslim Media Hub.
If you like what we're doing, you're gonna love Muslim Media Hub even more.
Because it's the next step up.
Think new TV shows, podcasts, social media content, and film.
It will have new talent, more youth, and a lot more space and resources to do what we love. Spread the message of Allah.
Our Muslim Media Hub costs $2.4 million.
And for that, we need to raise $300,000. Please give whatever you can. Every dollar counts.
It's our collective responsibility to share the message of Islam with our fellow human beings. Please help establish Muslim Media Hub so we can do this.
It's a sadaqah jariyah, something that will continue to be of benefit to the Muslim community long after we are gone.
Thank you, and may Allah bless you and your loved ones today and always.
Assalamu alaikum.